Hey guys, welcome back to Pristine's Reads. Today I'm going to be reviewing Unlocked by Shannon Messenger, and this is book 8.5 in the Keef of the Lost City series. So I've been reviewing this series since like May, I think. I did reviews with some friends, and I was going to read this one with a friend, but unfortunately she couldn't do it with me, so I'm just gonna review it by myself today. So let's get started. First off, before we hit the summary, I just want to say that if you have not read Keeper of the Lost Cities before, or you haven't watched any of my reviews on it, then you probably will not understand a lot of stuff that I'm going to be saying in this video, because I don't have time to explain every single thing as much as I would like to. I can't sit in front of the camera for 4 hours telling you exactly what everything means. So yeah, so either you have to have read the series before, or at least know stuff about it. And this is not a completely spoiler-free video, but I will give you guys a warning when I am going to have spoilers. So I'm just gonna have the usual non-spoiler summary, and then I'll spoil the stuff that happens in the book, and then we'll do the morals, which will be non-spoiler free, and also my personal rating and review. Okay, let's get straight into it. Summary. So, Unlocked is a special book. It's not just a novel that continues the Keeper series. It's it does have story, it continues the original story, but it's not just story too. There's stuff a map of the lost cities. There's art of different characters and scenes that are portrayed in previous books, and guides to the different species that live in the lost cities, and all the different food and stuff, etc. So it's super fun reading all that stuff. There are things like the registry files of all our favorite characters, and yeah, the list goes on and on. So for the sake of summary, I'm going to be reviewing the story part. The novella is 235 pages of story, which is not a lot compared to the other Keeper books. So basically, this much is the story, this, then all this is art guides and stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to be reviewing the story part. Okay, so I'm just going to say I really can't say a whole lot without spoiling anything, because as you get further into the series, it's really hard to say stuff without spoiling anything, okay? So, I'm just going to give you a quick, very generic rundown of the book. So, it picks up immediately after the legacy cliffhanger, and of course the thing happens that we've all been waiting for a year. The opening of Orly's case. No, just kidding. Obviously it's when Keef wakes up. I mean, at least I hope that's what you've been waiting to read. Opening Orly's case is important too, but waiting for Keef to wake up is more important. And we want to find out what his ability is, right? Well, I'm not gonna tell you. At least you non-spoiler people watching. I'll spill it later. But yeah, anyways, so and who would like to take a bet that his ability is something totally new and creepy that nobody's ever heard of before, because Lady Gisela is evil like that? Nobody? Come on. Anyways. Yeah, but I mean, as short as the story was, there's a lot of stuff that happens in here. Oh, I want to spoil so bad. So yes, Keef gets his new ability. It's earth-shattering. Sophie does something very... I still don't know what the word for it is. I'm not sure whether to call it incredibly dumb or very smart. So I'll have to get back to you on that one later. And I'll just say also that the story ends with me wondering if Keef has possibly gone insane yet. I mean, he's totally dumb or a complete idiot. Because why else would he do the thing that made me scream at the book and bang my head into the wall at the end? Okay, I literally felt like doing that. And in case you're wondering, yes, it's a cliffhanger. That's Shannon's specialty. She's the queen of cliffhangers. Just thought you'd like to know that. And I'll just say that November 2021 is eons away. Okay, that's basically all I can say without spoiling stuff. So if you don't want spoilers, jump off this right now, go to the description, click on the timestamp I have, and it'll take you straight back to this part where I don't have any more spoilers. As for you people who actually want spoilers, here they are. So, if you're watching this, I'm assuming that you've either read the entire series already, and you've read this book, or you really don't care and just really want to find out if so Keef happens. Or you just want to find out what Keef's ability is. So, why don't I start with that? Now, this is complicated because there's really no name for it. Honestly, to me, it seems like 4 different abilities. So, basically, the first thing we found out is that Keef's empathy is way stronger. He can feel everybody's emotions without physical contact. Like, previously, he could only feel Sophie's emotions without physical contact, but now he can feel everybody's emotions without contact. So, his empathy has gotten a lot stronger. Unfortunately, the thing with his feeling all these emotions is that they're now giving him, like, nausea and headaches and stuff. So that's not fun. And then the next part of his ability is that he can, like, use his voice, like, the way he says certain stuff. It can make people do things. Like, for example, Sophie came to the healing center. Her emotions are already, like, way powerful with Keef's normal empathy, and now with his empathy even stronger, they're like a giant boulder being dumped on his head. So yeah, so obviously that is way too much for him, and when he like touched her, then like his brain just like wiped out almost. But he said, it's gonna sound weird, but he said numb, as in N-U-M-B, numb. Like, he's trying to get the emotions, like, all these waterfall of emotions to stop. And he did. But then everybody in the room, they all became, like, zombies. They were just, like, because he made them almost, like, stop feeling. Like, they were conscious, but they weren't feeling anything, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, it's kind of like a beguiler, because beguilers, like, use their voices to influence people's emotions to do stuff. But then again, it's not really the same thing. So yeah, it's a completely weird ability. And so for that reason, Keef is totally afraid to keep using his voice. So he's basically like mute. He can't say anything. Well, not like he can't say anything, but like he doesn't want to say anything unless he'll like cause everybody to be like that again. But Keef figures out how to deactivate it by saying feel, which is like the opposite of numb, basically. So yeah, it works. They all got out of their trance thing. They all gathered that Keef obviously doesn't want to go back to Candleshade or the Shores of Solace to live with his good old daddy-o. So Elwyn offers to take him home. Elwyn's house is called Splendor Plains. So anyways, Elwyn offers to take Keef home, so Keef and Ro go to live with Elwyn. And unfortunately, Counselor Alina was there to witness the entire numbing incident, and strongly suggests that Sophie stay away from Keef because obviously her emotions were way too strong for Keef. And Keef is just like destroyed and he's like fine. So Sophie was not happy about that. It was actually a really sad scene, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, moving on. Keef is living at Elwyn's house. So he manages to say very quietly to Elwyn, he's like, tell Dex. Basically, he's like, tell Dex to help me. Basically, because you know how Dex made the ability restrictor for Sophie in Everblaze. He basically wants Dex to do the same thing for him so he can, like, you know, speak normally again, because who wouldn't want to? So anyways, Dex comes over the next day, and he doesn't want to make an ability restrictor for Keef, but promises that he'll try to find something to help him. So the next day, he brings over his dad and the triplets. Good old Rex, Bex, and Lex. You know, the triplets are, like, crazy. So, their emotions are, how to say, way strong for Keef. So they try to, like, whip Keef into a frenzy and, like, try and get him to say the command. Everybody else is wearing earplugs, like Dex and his dad Kessler and Ellen are all like wearing earplugs, so they won't hear anything what Keef is saying. So Kessler has these little elixirs for Keef to drink, and he'll see if they help. They don't. So yeah, Keef ends up numbing Rex, Bex, and Lex. They don't mind it. But yeah, here's where we also find out Keef's like third ability of his one ability. So the next day after the Disneys leave, Dex tells Keef through like an imparted conversation that Bex and Lex have manifested as a Froster and a Phaser. I think Lex is the Froster and Bex is the Phaser. They get so mixed up. But yeah, and that lines up with what Keef thought, because whenever Bex touched him, her hands were like oddly squishy, and you would like expect that from a Phaser, because you know they can like break down their bodies to walk through walls and stuff. And Lex's hands always felt freezing cold, and you know that's like a Froster because they can like control ice, snow, etc. Now you may say, that's only two, what about the third one? Well, that's very observant of you. Whenever Keef had Rex's hands like on him, he felt this strange, hollow, empty feeling. Now, Rex hadn't manifested yet. So Dex and Keef were trying to figure out what abilities that could have meant, like that feeling could have meant. But Keef connects the dots in his mind, and he remembers that when Kessler touches him, he finds that Kessler gives him that same hollow, empty feeling. Now, Kessler is talentless. Remember, Dex's parents were a bad match. That's why he has been like facing scorn all his life. Poor Dex. So, if you have half a brain, you can figure out that Rex is talentless. It's a sad day in Lost Cities. Rex is talentless. But yeah. Rex is talentless. Anyways, now on to Sophie's side. That's basically Keef's side of the journey. Because, you know, we got dual chapters. No, we got dual POVs for different chapters. We got Keef's and Sophie's. I loved Keef's point of view, by the way. And Ro is in top form, guys. She is, like, awesome. Anyways, for Sophie, she started a war. I'm not kidding. This time she actually did. So she and Wonder Boy and Bianna, sorry, Wonder Boy, I meant Fitz, obviously. She and Fitz and Bianna went to this never seen hideout. No, sorry. She and Bianna went to visit Glimmer. Yes, the never seen Glimmer that we all hate, but Tam apparently loves. He better not, because I'm a huge Tiana shipper, guys. Yeah, there's this super cute Tiana on here that I just like have to read to you guys, okay? So they're basically talking about going to visit Glimmer now, okay? It says, Fitz sighed, who invited her? That would be you, Bianna informed him. You thought having a vanisher would come in handy. And then Fitz says, no, I just knew you'd sneak along anyway, since you're nosy like that, and dying to see Tam. He stage whispered to Sophie, my sister's a fan of silver bangs. Sophie raised her eyebrows, glancing at Bianna. Bianna's cheeks flushed, but Sophie couldn't tell whether that was confirmation or irritation. Or both. I just have to read you that, guys. It's so cute. Okay. Anyways, I apologize for that, like, minute and a half of weirdness that was going on. But I just had to read you that. Where was I? Oh, yes, they're visiting Glimmer. So, after some not cool negotiating, Glimmer agrees to take them to the Never Seen hideout store. Well, the Never Seen secret storehouse where they're keeping all their important stuff. Honestly, I feel like she gave in kind of too easy, but that's another story. So anyways, they go to the Never Seen hideout. They quickly grab Kenrick's and Fintan's caches, which they lost beforehand. And they quickly grab as much stuff as they can to take back because they've got a 15-minute limit courtesy of Grady and Sandor, obviously. So, yeah, they've got a bunch of stuff. But Glimmer, being this, like, pessimistic, snarky person she is, she's like, oh, the powerful little moonlark isn't gonna do anything else to the storehouse. Like, you've got the entire building, so, like, why not do something with it? Like, grab all the stuff, seriously. But obviously they don't have time for that. So Sophie knocks over these balefire sconces on the wall and sets fire to everything. She also burns Lady Gisella's archetype. I personally think that's slightly a dumb move because they could have brought it home and read it. But she basically sets fire to their entire storehouse, and she leaves the mark of the moonlark on the floor to let the Neverseen know that she did it. So when they get back, Grady informs her that she has started a war because now she's officially destroyed the Neverseen's hideout. Bum bum bum. Though, like, let's be honest, you all knew that it was coming. Like, she's already almost started a war about, like, 62 times. So it's nothing really unusual here. She just actually did it this time. Now, Grady is, like, kind of mad because, well, she just started a war. But Mr. Forkle, on the other hand, is not exactly super mad either because he's been training Sophie as the Moonlark to be a leader, right? So he's not exactly displeased either. But yeah, that's basically the last chapter from Sophie's point of view, I think. And now, bringing you guys on to the cliffhanger. Through a series of extremely dumb decisions, Keef decides that somehow the best way for him to curb his ability is to go live with the humans, as if that makes any sense. So he writes Sophie a letter, a very heartbreaking letter, might I say. He doesn't say outright that he's hiding with the humans, but he says, I'm going to be hiding the same way the Black Swan hid you. How did the Black Swan hide Sophie? They put her in the Forbidden Cities of the humans. So that's obvious. So basically he goes through all the stuff that's like, oh, Sophie, stay away, you're going to become in danger if you come and find me. Just trust me, okay? I want you to be safe, I want you to be happy, etc. He doesn't outright come and say that he likes her, but, like, let's be honest, it's super obvious. Obviously to Sophie, though, it's not. Okay, the letter is the end. He sneaks it into Sophie's room, puts it under Iggy's cage, and yes, he dyes Iggy different colors. Sad. That's the end. We don't even get to see Sophie's reaction to the letter. I mean, like, what? Okay, moving on to the morals. Okay, welcome back, non-spoiler people. Lots of hearts have probably been broken from the last few minutes you have left, and a couple tears have probably been shed. No, just kidding, not that dramatic. Moving on to the worldview. So, as I have said for like a bajillion times during the series, Shannon Messenger is not a Christian author. However, she has pretty good moral standards and honestly very clean content for a non-Christian author. I found no other prominent worldviews or religions here. There are some principles like, oh, you know, follow your heart, stay true to yourself, etc. that you could keep an eye out for, but there isn't like a huge overdose of that. Moving on. Foul language. There aren't any like specific bad words mentioned. There was a point when a character said he was considering muttering a little string of words that would have made Foster's innocent little ears burn. And anybody can guess who that character is. But yeah, again, no specific bad words are mentioned. There are like a few other moments like that. But yeah, that's it. Moving on to violence. There was some. I can't really say anything without spoiling, but all you need to know is that no one died. It's not like super bloody. Okay. Moving on. Romance. So there were like, there was some romance. There wasn't like a whole whack ton. Man, I really want to say something, but like I can't because it's spoilery. And there's nothing inappropriate. That's all I need to know. That's it. Okay. As for alcohol, there was a mention of somebody was like, and I may have had one too many glasses of fizzleberry wine. But that was like in passing. I can't say anything. Moving on to my reading recommended age level. So, I'm gonna rate this one 4 stars. I liked it and I didn't like it at the same time, which means you just say it, but hear me out. This is non-spoiler, okay, so just so you know, it's safe. So, I really liked this because while the story was a bit short for my liking, a lot of things did happen and I was happy with that. And I also liked all the fantastic artwork and detail and guides and stuff that went into this book. I enjoyed seeing what Mrs. Stinkbottom looks like. But like, Nubidi looks like a dog. I did not expect her to look like that. Anyways, so yeah, I really liked all the content and stuff that like went into it. I like the cool recipes and quizzes and stuff that they also included. I will say though that the reasons why I didn't like it is because in the beginning when they had all the registry files, it was kind of boring because they're just listing stuff that I already knew from all the previous books, except, well, you know, from Keef's, because his registry file was quite entertaining, I have to say. That was the best. Anyway, I would have loved to see a Tam edited version of his file. That would be priceless. Oh, and Keef's detention record, that is like precious. It's, oh my word, okay. Yeah. Keef's detention record though, seriously, it's like a mile long. And the second reason why I didn't like it is because there were some of my favorite characters that didn't really get a whole lot of page time. Now, I understand this because, like, you know, it was really short. Like, the story is really short, so obviously there wasn't enough time for, like, all my favorite characters to get featured in there. But I still would have liked at least one scene with some of them, you know. And for all people who think Dex is underappreciated, he's not in this book, so happy about that. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I thought of it, and like the cliffhanger totally wrecked my night. Like, I finished it and I was like literally moaning and groaning on my couch, and my siblings were staring at me like, who is this weird person and what has this book done to her, kind of thing. Yeah. I asked if I rated, and as for my recommended age level, I'm going to say 10 to 11 plus, like all the Keeper books. So yeah, anyways, bottom line is that I enjoyed it thoroughly. Obviously, it's not perfect. It has its flaws, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. That brings us to the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to give a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And anything else you want to talk to me about in the comments, just say so. I watch the comments. Okay. Anyways, thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next week. Bye!